Men of Reddit, what is something you tell your girlfriend wife that is completely untrue? Story 1. I would fight a bear for you. I absolutely would not. I would run like a... The problem is that my wife was a sprinter and is in better shape than me, so I would definitely end up having to fight the bear anyway. Story 2. I might be getting off early to do some stuff on Valentine's Day. We usually don't do anything big, but I got a bug up my butt and took a half day without telling her. I'm going to decorate our dining area and bring home one of her favorite meals. Other than that, nothing jumps out. Story 3. I am going to get flack for this one, but I will agree she looks like she's lost weight. When she asks specifically, hey, race the thing for me, I like her body the best now. All the weight she's put on since we've been together has gone to the best places. Belly, and she's hotter than ever to me. I literally can't keep my hands off her. I have to force myself to not constantly make it about when I'm in her presence, because every time I catch a glimpse I'm like a teenage boy again. But I understand telling her that would be like telling a man, your size is perfect, the big ones hurt. It might be the truth for me, but it's not what she wants to hear. And since she's been watching her diet and going to the gym, I do my best to encourage her, since being healthier is good, and I am in fact very proud of her for her discipline and how far she's come. She lifts heavier, runs farther, and has quit smoking. All her huge accomplishments have made her more attractive overall, no matter what number is on the scale. My god though, that thick body has me completely dumb. I'd be fine if she never lost another pound. Story 4. My wife is deaf, and uses lip reading and sign language. We are Mexican, so here is the LSM, equivalent to the ASL. I'm always trying to pause my speech, gesticulate more, etc., and put attention to what is happening and translate to her. I'm clumsy trying to gain skills in SL. She asks sometimes if I feel overwhelmed or burdened by the effort it requires, and without skipping a beat always say that not at all, but it's hard and burdening. Sometimes it overwhelmed me or made me tired and feeling hopeless or lacking interest in sharing something, just because the effort it takes. But if it's like that to me, how frickin' excruciatingly difficult could be to her, and she keeps trying and putting effort into bonding and sharing those feelings, moments with me, so I will keep lying and trying better. Story 5. No matter what, I'll always tell her dinner was delicious, just because it's how I was brought up. Just the appreciation of her cooking for me is all I need. I don't care how it tastes 99 of the time, it's absolutely fine anyways. Story 6. I pretended to forget it was Valentine's Day today. I have flowers, candy, and a card ready. Reservations to a nice restaurant next week too. We both agreed we do not want to fight the crowds tonight or this weekend. Story 7. I learned long ago that when the wife asks if her hair, outfit, nails, new purse, whatever looks nice, the correct answer 100 of the time with no exceptions is yes. I don't care if she's rocking a Mr. T mohawk, while wearing floppy red rubber clown shoes and a burlap potato sack as a skirt, carrying a dead raccoon as a purse, and her nails are painted with white out. The answer is yes. If she squirts ketchup and mustard on her face and calls it makeup, the answer is yes. If she goes full Howie Mandel and stretches a latex glove over her head, the answer is yes. Story 8. Not a man, but my boyfriend constantly tells me he's just about to leave work when I know for a fact he's still playing League of Legends with his buddies. The game score tracker website doesn't lie, honey. Story 9. I've been telling my wife she looks 20 for 25 years. Just last week she was talking about how her face looks different now, and I told her the same and then immediately made a correction. Okay, fine. You actually look 25 now. She knows it's a lie and always respond yeah right with a little smile on her face. She likes to hear it even though she knows I'm just saying it. Story 10. What are you thinking about? Oh, nothing. Nah, not nothing. Instead, my mind is going down some stupid rabbit hole. Such as how much power could I actually get for free if I built a copper coil and put it close to the power line? How could I regulate the voltage to 120 volts? Or maybe what would happen if everyone actually stopped using Facebook? Or how could I totally reverse engineer a washing machine timer? I've read the wiring diagrams many times but never actually understood them. Story 11. I'm single now, but one lie I told my ex-fiancé that I will continue telling my future SOs. I sleep more comfortable sharing a bed than I do having my own bed. I sleep so much better having my own bed, but I can still get a full night's sleep sharing a bed, so I will never have to admit that LMAO. Story 12. That it's not a problem. Mainly this is in relation to how long it takes her to get ready to leave the house. Not a particularly vain or image-obsessed woman who spends ages doing makeup, preening, etc. She just has ADHD and is easily distracted and poorly planned out as far as leaving the house is concerned. It'll be ready in a couple of minutes with bag and camera packed, keys, phone, wallet and headphones in pockets, etc. She'll do laps of the house flitting from one thing to the next, slowly getting to the point where she's in a position to leave. Even then it's not assured that she'll have everything with her. It can also apply to things like large chunks of the house being dominated by her latest focus of interest. It's currently gardening, so various bits of the house look like a potting shed. It is very much a problem. I often feel like large swathes of my life are wasted, sat on hold waiting for her to get her together. If I delay getting ready though, she'll get huffy that I'm not doing what it takes to leave the house. Fortunately, it's one of only a few character flaws that I have to endure, and they are more than made up for by her other, better qualities. Life would be far worse and far emptier without her and her willingness to put up with my own individual bullshit. I'm not beyond those subtle nudges, tweaks and quiet interventions that will haste things along, but, as anyone else who lives with an ADHD will know, there is only so far you can go. You only get so many we must leave right now or fix this now cards per year, and it would unwise to play them all too soon. Love is compromise and compromise is love. I found and removed the spider you saw in the bathroom. Story 13. I do not lie to my wife. Been married for 24 years. I married her at 21, she was 20. Lying is a sure way to get divorced. It's also disrespectful to your spouse. Story 14. That I have already decided on where to go for lunch, dinner, whatever. Guess where we are going? Place she wants to eat. Yep, problem solved. No more of, hey babe, what do you want to have for dinner? What do you want to eat? Where do you want to go? No, but I don't like that. Oh, I changed my mind. Oh, are you sure? Story 15. You're way hotter than your sister. But I think she knows, because she doesn't have a sister. It's just something I say when she becomes self-conscious. Story 16. That I love her. It's not that I don't love her, it's that what I feel is so much more than love. Words can't describe it. She means so much more to me than just love. So until I figure out how to communicate the abundance of feelings for her, the word love will just have to do. Worth noting we've been together coming up on 15 years. Story 17. Once a year, I take a secret PTO day to do all my holiday gift shopping for her. She is intensely smart, so I spend this day pretending to go to work as normal, but really make the rounds to shops and marketplace pickups. When she asks how work was, I lie and tell her it was a lot. It's the only sneaking I do in our relationship, and it honestly feels bad, but is so worth it to get a big surprise on her, something otherwise unattainable. Story 18. That I'm going to take a quick shower. In reality, I want to absorb as much of the hot water as I physically can. The rest of the house is too cold, and the only time I feel warm is in the shower. Story 19. I tell her whatever she cooks is amazing every time. It's usually good, sometimes okay, and once in a while it's a complete fail. The important thing is she cooked for me. She doesn't have to cook for me. She has her own full-time job and other stuff to take care of. When she does cook for me, though, I'm gonna eat at least a plateful and be grateful for it cause no one else is cooking for me. It's not about how it tastes, it's about the time and effort put into an act of kindness. Story 20. You'll probably get downvoted for this, but I always try to be truthful. Don't really see what lying gets anyone. You walk away feeling crappy about yourself for lying to the person you love and ultimately hurt them and yourself in the end. It's a lose-lose. Story 21. That the contractor only stole $50,000 from us before he ran. He stole $67,000 from us. And I then had to max out 2 credit cards, 2 Lowe's cards, and take out a $20,000 business line of credit, to have to do the repairs myself. I honestly hope Mario Mohan from Ocean Blue Builders gets rectal love from an escaped gorilla, with no lube, and gets an aggressively angry handjob from it. Story 22. Hopefully this will be buried. She always tells me she loves me and I say I know and say it back to her. I know she doesn't, but that's not a conversation she is ready to have. Story 23. This is the best head I ever had, told to literally every girl who gave me one. And they all told me I know they all told me that, so I think I'm not the only one. Story 24. When my partner eats my food after saying she's not hungry or doesn't want anything, I always tell her that's why I got the fries because I know you'd eat them, but in reality, I wanted those fries. Story 25. When women ask us what we're thinking, most of the time we have to make something up. Women don't seem to like the answer nothing. Most of the time that's exactly what we're thinking. Story 26. No, your friend isn't hot. There are no other attractive women in the world. Every day, I'm shocked at how doctors and scientists haven't tried to run experiments on you to figure out what it is that makes you and you alone attractive. I suspected I might be gay for the longest time when, in reality, it was just that I had never known there were any physically attractive women in the world until I met you. Every time my eyes glaze over another woman, I feel disgusted and nauseous, and the only thing that helps is thinking of you. This is completely normal, and in no way indicative of any underlying issues of security you might have. Story 27. You're the smartest, prettiest, cutest, smartest, funniest, fastest, athletic, strongest, mature, sweetest, talented girl I know. Bro, I'm not the best of everything either, but if I chose you, it means you are absolutely the one for me and I love you anyway and try to be the best of many things. Story 28. My wife is Japanese, and the first time I brought her to the States to meet my family, she asked me if there was anything she shouldn't do while with my family. As a joke, I told her it was extremely rude in the US to drink something with your pinky extended, and to this day she believes me. Story 29. No worries, baby. We'll get there when we get there. It's been 6 years and not once have we ever walked out of the door to go somewhere on time. I keep pushing back the time that we absolutely have to leave by, and no matter how far back I push it, we still always walk out of the door 10 to 20 minutes later than we need to. If I account for the fact that she's going to be behind, as in, not start getting ready as soon as she thinks I should, then she comes down on me for dragging. It happens if I get off work late, run a restaurant, so sometimes I get stuck and come home, even though I know for a fact that I will be showered, shaved and changed and sitting on the couch, still waiting to walk out the door, for at least 10 minutes, everything else about her more than makes up for this. But yeah, I'm constantly pretending like it doesn't drive me absolutely crazy. Story 30. This isn't really a lie I tell her, more like I don't tell her, so my wife gets way more vacation time from work than me, like 4 weeks more than I get, so I agree to let her go on more tips, girls trips with or visiting her best friend who moved out of state a few years ago, etc. I don't mind, it's like a gift I can give her. There's also times she'd be out for her book club or dinner with friends or something and she's gone for bedtime. On days it is my turn anyway. The lie is, I don't tell her that basically everything with the kids and their routines goes much more smoothly without her 2 kids. I'm not like a disciplinarian. I think the reason is because I stick with the routine, like 2 years old bedtime is at 8, so we start the bedtime routine right around 8 and I don't give him chocolate when he asks and I don't let him get up from book reading and run around the house etc. He goes to bed happy and willingly following the routine, as an example. She's been home from her recent trip for about a month, so not like she just got back, and whenever it is her turn for handling bedtime it is utter chaos. Boy is not in bed until after 9 and I usually have to just take over at that point. From her point of view, bedtime is chaotic and easiest if we work together, but from my point of view, she kinda brings the chaos. It is actually much easier without her, but I can't tell her that. I think she'd not take it well. She never sees how easy it is without her because if she's there at all she'll incidentally cause disruption. I don't really think it is her fault nor can she really prevent it. I don't want her to change. I don't really think it is a problem. It is just kind of funny the way it is. Story 31 that I'm older than her. I tell her all the time, every time age comes up, she uses logic, math, etc., to which I usually just respond with something like yeah okay, grave robber. Story 32 whenever I'm installing, replacing, fixing, building or doing any home maintenance work I like to tell her exactly what I'm doing and I always use as much jargon as I can to make her think I know what I'm doing so she will trust my shoddy work. She thinks she's got a handyman but she's got a duct tape redneck. Story 33 I once told my wife, I went for a brisk morning jog to clear my head. In reality, I hit snooze until noon and then ran a marathon on the remote control flipping through channels like it was cardio. When she caught me deep in a Netflix binge, I shrugged and said, hey, mental exercise counts too. Story 34 all kinds of random bullshit to check if she's even listening to me, and to parry her verbal avalanches, she is prone to tell me extremely long and torturously boring stories from her work, or random gossip from her friends, without really caring about my input into the conversation, other than a proof I'm listening. So I respond with things like, oh yeah, kinda like the time we bought that pet otter, I was at Jim's funeral at that time, never knew any Jims. Really, I haven't seen them since Mozambique, shame, she was my favorite banjo player. Yeah, as the good book says, random gibberish misquoted from Star Wars every now and then she'll actually hear me, but only like subconsciously, and makes the I'm solving complex calculus in my head trying to decipher what you just said face before resuming her story. Story 35 that I clean the bathroom about twice a week. That is a lie. I clean the bathtub after every time she takes a shower. I don't know why, but my basal autistic mind really doesn't like sharing a bathtub with her. Toilet, sink, kitchen, utensils, genitals, those I can share, but I want a totally clean shower. Story 36 that she is my favorite person in the world. She is my favorite person sometimes. Sometimes it's the dog, most of the time it's the dog, okay, it's always the dog, don't tell her. Story 37 that I don't really mind where we go eat at. Truth is that I do care but I am willing to sacrifice my preference in order to be able to just eat something. Story 38 I'm a wife and I can answer this, he did, and I should feed him less green veggies, but I want, the calcium from broccoli is important, love stinks. Story 39 she likes backpacking, but she is worried about the bears and mountain lions. We take the typical food precautions, but she still worries. I have convinced her that by doing our peeing in a ring around our campsite the animals will be deterred and repelled and won't bother us. Story 40 that he'll leave her if she gets fat. We work out together, and anytime I'm appreciating her progress I always tack on which is good because I miss you if you got fat, and she always smiles back and says you'll never leave me, and she's right. She could get as fat as she wants and I stick with her, and she knows it, but it's become our fun little gym joke. Story 41 how much spending money I have left after going out or just at the end of the week. I give my wife money for the bills and I pay what I need to pay THW and we have groceries and essentials and then we put a little away for savings not to be touched, so I like to keep some tucked aside for a rainy day. Then when things get tight I just say I got a little extra from work. My wife is an amazing mom and sometimes just can't say no to the kids, not that they get so empty all the time. We don't have money bad problems and worked hard to get to where we are, but are both from very poor families, so we like to give our kids what we couldn't have. Me keeping some surprise money tucked aside allows her to not feel guilty, which I always say she shouldn't feel that way anyway since we worked for what we have. Story 42 oh I'm fine. Narrator he's in fact not okay but internally and silently wallowing with severe depression and exhaustion with a smile of reassurance on his face. Story 43 sometimes. I sleep through the alarm, I pretend to. She brings the coffees to bed if I stay there when she gets up. It's the best part of my day, warm coffee, warm bed, no screens or stress, just quality time together before work and the day drains us. She is a morning person who wakes up fully charged and talks about all kinds of stuff at 1,000 miles an hour. Of course, she talks at other times of the day, but it isn't the same, doesn't have the same energy and madness. Story 44 switching to alt for this my wife has lost a ton of weight for health high BP and I preferred her body all plump and taut, not skinny and wrinkly middle-aged and up ladies. Unless you need to lose it for health, keep the weight on, it looks good on you. Sorry for the old man opinion, but it's the truth and her drive has gone way up which is a bonus. I still love her body, and want her to be healthy regardless of my leering opinion. Story 45 I only have eyes for you. It started becoming a lie after she cheated. I get that this happened during her psychosis where her view of the world completely changed, and that now she is ultimately trying to build a town out of the rubbles that the other her left in that state of lunacy, but still I can't help it. I caught myself subconsciously looking at other women and having crushes and interests over them, but ultimately never even had done anything because I wanted to keep things as respectful as possible among people I know. The only thing that kept me holding on is the thought that we are healing, her accepting that responsibility and doing great at it, and the fact that she somehow senses that this was a lie, always reminding me that cheating back on me is an option, if it makes you suffer a lot less. Every time I say that lie that I have eyes only on her, it's always replied with a smile tinged with doubt and sadness. I know it, she knows it, but it was never said out loud. How did things go so wrong, I don't know, but I really just want to heal from this and rebuild what we can. Story 46. When she asks if that's my side chick texting me, I always answer yep, planning a date night. I'm a tattoo artist so my phone is constantly going off. Story 47. I agree with my wife when she says she wants to start working out together. I absolutely do not want to work out with her. She's already crazy strong and I don't need that kind of insecurity in my life. Story 48. That the lack of romance from her doesn't bother me. In the grand scheme of things, contrary to how this sounds, it's perfectly fine. Every relationship has things you are unsatisfied with. No relationship is perfect. Everything else I am pretty happy with. She's a kind person, cares about animals, is emotionally intelligent, loves me, cares about me, cooks me delicious food constantly, talks to me about my day, my feelings and opinions matter. We don't have gender-rolled anything in our relationship. We politically are in lockstep. She of her own volition has gotten her substance abuse totally under control, has started exercising and going to therapy, and she wants to be a better person, and she's already great. We have come to a middle ground that is satisfactory for both of our drives. I really could go on, but I think my point is made. Overall I am very satisfied, and if this is the only issue our relationship ever has, the first 14 years of our relationship is only the beginning. She just isn't a romantic person. Lovey-dovey stuff just doesn't do it for her. She isn't romantically forward. I have to initiate any intimacy, both and non-sexual. She doesn't flirt. It's just not an interest of hers. It does hurt if I'm honest. We have talked about it at length many times. She would adjust for 2 to 3 weeks, but over time it just reverts back to the mean. It is who she is and I have accepted it. By this point of being together in almost a decade and a half, it's not reasonable for me to expect her to change. Me constantly telling her it bothers me won't change anything and would possibly cause issues, so I just don't. Again, contrary to how this may sound, I am very happy overall and I don't feel like I have settled. Life is not worth living without her. I'm far from perfect myself on top of this. I have my faults that she deals with. Story 49. That I love her, JK. The lie I tell my wife is that I don't lie to her. Ironically, it actually bothers her because she legit thinks I don't lie. The lies I tell her are things like I'm going to get XYZ done this weekend, knowing full well the odds that my ADHD is going to do anything productive is close to zero. Story 50. Yeah, I'm down to have. I only get horny like 2 to 3 times a week, maybe even less if it's a really busy, stressful week. But all the women I've ever dated have been insatiably horny, pretty much 247, and in my experience turning a woman down for always ends in me having to comfort her for an hour because she thinks I'm not attracted to her. Even when I'm horny is such a chore. I don't think because I definitely still feel attraction regularly. I just can't enjoy because then she won't. If I actually allowed myself to enjoy, it'd be over in 30 seconds and nothing is going to happen after because I don't even want to think about for at least 24 hours after I. So the whole ordeal is me performing strenuous exercise while trying as hard as I can to not enjoy myself. How anyone enjoys that is beyond me. The emotional intimacy is my favorite part, but I can feel that same intimacy from just kissing and cuddling, or even just laughing together. Story 51. I'm fine, though to be fair I usually am fine, and I also usually won't say I am, if I'm not, but that's usually recently. I'm fine has been a lie I've trotted out, a lot, because I need to be fine when she isn't, and she's not, and we can't both go through at the same time, apparently, even if it's literally the same whatever, never mind. I'm fine. Story 52. That I'm fine. I nearly had a heat stroke on top of a ladder in the middle of summer, then had to go find a wire buried in insulation in an attic I'm pretty sure was the summer home of Satan himself, all while being yelled at for a security system I never installed. She tells everyone how I'm her Superman and it makes me feel great, but my face has the countenance of a thunderstorm usually, so she asks if I'm mad or upset. I tried to explain once, but she didn't understand, and I could see it, so when she crawls into my lap asking how I'm doing, I'm fine. If it preserves the image of me she has, this all-doing tough blue-collar guy, I would rather die than fall off my horse. Story 53. There's nothing that I want right now. Use that money on that you've wanted for so long. Truth. I want a new guitar, I want a PSVR 2, I need some new shoes, I need new contact lenses, I want to pay off the credit cards quicker, I want to add to my Transformers collection, I want steps for the dog so that he can get in bed by himself, I want a lot of things, I want the keyboard on my phone to type what I want it to say and not the dumb ramblings that my thumbs keep pressing. I want a lot of things, but mostly I want to see her smile. When she's happy, nothing else matters. Story 54. I convinced my ex-wife that I had an artificial skull cap, that the top of my head was replaced during my military service. At first she didn't believe me, but then I took a fridge magnet and stuck it on my forehead. Surprised, she uttered, but titanium isn't magnetic. Sure, it is, I responded and showed her the scar on the side of the forehead from a bar fight. it was hot weather, so the skin and sweat made the magnet stick, and I managed to remove it before it came off by itself. Story 55 that her hoarding parents' house doesn't bother me because I don't live there. In reality I want to roll in the dumpsters and have at it until it is blank patch of dirt. Story 56 oh yep, thinking that's good, let's do that. It's not true, it's not good, I just know if I don't agree with her she will have to be always right, so I will end up in an argument I cannot win, and I end up doing what she asked me to do anyway. Plus she will ask me to apologize for being wrong, when all I did was voice my preferences alongside hers. So in the end I just agree the moment she wants something done a certain way, skip all the rubbish in between. Story 57 I'll do it in a few, it being whatever Cora project tech she's telling me about right after I sit down or get home from work. I'm not saying I don't do stuff around the house for her or the house. I'm saying I don't want to do stuff immediately when it pops into her brain. Just like there are things she doesn't want to do usually related when they immediately enter my brain. Story 58 the empty gun cases I am taking to the gun shows have guns in them that I am going to try and sell at the gun show, that way when they come back with guns in them, she doesn't know they are new guns. Story 59 wife, but here's my husband's I am so done with your shenanigans, but then he keeps provoking said shenanigans, doesn't seem very done to me. Story 60 that I'm okay with us going long distance and we should continue dating. I'm not and I hope she realizes it once she moves, if not, the breakup will be easier. Yes, I am an inexperienced coward. Story 61 that I'm not a hot mess in terms of mental health. She doesn't need to know how broken I am, she's not really qualified to cope with it or fix it anyway. She's supportive and I love her, but I don't want to trauma bomb someone whole, genuinely not really be able to do much more than also get dragged down. Story 62 me and the wife go hiking a lot. She always asks how much further. I always say not too far, just over that ridge there. It's always far, very far. Story 63 I don't think there is anything really. Lying to her sounds like more stress than it's worth. On the other hand, we've definitely gotten into arguments over me being too blunt, which is fair, so take that for what it's worth. Story 64 when she's asking which takeaway we should go for, I say I don't mind. I know she's going to pick Chinese. She always wants Chinese. I've eaten so much Chinese in the 14 years that we have been together. I now hate Chinese. She says that's if it's left to her she'll pick Chinese, so I let her pick Chinese. Internally I want Mexican. Story 65 that she is the best I've ever had. I've had just absolute freaks. Was amazing, but I can only deal with crazy for so long. My wife is a stable, smart, strong woman who does perform, but not like the others I've had. At the end of the day I love what I come home to, and that makes all the difference. Why would I tell the dog to go wake you up? Just so you would feed him and I wouldn't have to, come on, I'm not that lazy. Story 66 it never even occurred to me I have ADHD. My brain goes way faster than any of my filters, reminders, and intentions. It occurred to me, danced around naked in my brain for a hot second, and was gone almost before I noticed. If I admitted to all the things that occurred to me, I'd never be out of trouble. No matter that the filters catch up and smack the impulse down faster than my mother could wield a slipper. Story 67 that I like her sister's husband and that it's totally fine that he stays when they come to visit when really his mere presence just boils my. I swear at Christmas time I was going to throw off the balcony when he grunted at my wife when she served him some food. My brother-in-law is a dead set and I can't stand him.